Good afternoon, and welcome to the Gold Goats and Guns half hour or so here on YouTube. My name is Tom Luongo, and I hope you're having a great weekend. I apologize if I'm going to be a little low energy today. I'm not feeling very well, but I wanted to pop onto YouTube this afternoon. I wanted to talk about some things that I think are very interesting. And most of what you're going to hear from me this afternoon, I'm not sure I even believe in, but it's worth discussing as a counterpoint to what I talked about on Friday on Periscope. If you don't follow me on Periscope, you can do so by finding me in the Periscope app at Tom Luongo, or you can follow me on periscope.tv/Tom Luongo. You can also find me here on YouTube. So if you like what we hear here, please give a like. Leave a couple of comments, subscribe to the channel, that kind of thing. Also, I maintain a blog over at goldgoatsandguns.com. And as a matter of fact, I just published an article called "Is There a Silver Lining to Trump's Freaky Friday?" which is what I want to talk about right now. Because on Friday on Periscope, after Trump signed the Omnibus Spending Bill, the $1.3 trillion pork fest, I was very angry. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm still angry. I still don't like him signing this thing. I think it's a fundamental betrayal of his base, and a fundamental betrayal of his past 6 months of successes. From my perspective, and this is the funny part about it, this is what I said on Friday on Periscope, and I'm going to repeat this here before I go into what I'm going to talk about next, which is that it made no sense to me whatsoever that he would sign this bill when there's no veto-proof majority in the Senate or the House. It's not like he's staring at the situation with the sanctions bill last summer, where they voted 92-5 against the thing. And if that's the case, so I'm looking at this going, why on God's green earth would you do this at this moment in time? You've beaten the Democrats on DACA. You've beaten them on previous threats of shutting down the government. You've laid that blame on them. You've been able to do so on DACA, on the wall, on tax cuts, on Russiagate, on everything. The man has literally won every confrontation with his opposition at a domestic policy level for the past 6 months. I mean, why would you betray all of that political capital, taking your approval rating from the mid-30s, depending on which poll you talk to, which poll you look at, up into the 50% range? When CNN is having to report that your approval rating is upwards of 50%, your approval rating is closer to 55, possibly 60. So why would you do this? Why would you betray your base and all of your winnings this way with such a weak protest? Because he could have easily allowed the government to be shut down for a couple of days over the weekend. Wouldn't have been a big deal. Military, I mean, seriously, it could have been shut down for a couple of days. Force Congress to go back, think about what they're going to do, rejigger some things at the very least, and then put up the fight. Or at the very least, veto the bill and send it back to them and let them hash it out. And put the onus on Congress. Make Congress the asshole. And so it made sense to me to veto the bill. You have the power. You have the people on your side, for Christ's sake. So none of it made any sense whatsoever. I don't understand. And so I'm very angry about it, because it looks to me like after getting rid of some of the globalists in this cabinet and moving in all these arch neocons, and the level of crazy that's extant in foreign policy right now, it looks to me like we're just seeing a betrayal at every level, and that the swamp is just won, and that my only rational conclusion I could come to was that they finally just said, "Look, dude, if you don't do what we want you to do, we're just going to kill you. We're going to kill you and your family or whomever, and that's it. And you've lost, because we're pulling that card now." And even that doesn't feel right, because they can't do that now. He's too popular to do that now. You can't, there comes a point when the people who think they control all the power actually don't have any. Their powers are illusory. Because when you lose the democratic mandate of the people, you don't have any mechanism by which to continue ruling. And this is what they're beginning to find out, and this is what Trump has been so masterful about since he's been in office. I mean, again, I have plenty of things to complain about Trump, complain about with Trump. I've done this. I've been, I've tried to be fair about this. But at the same time, I also understand he's in a very difficult position. And then, you do what you have to do. So I can understand, like, the Bolton appointment as national security advisor. I don't like the move. I think the negatives outweigh the positives. But Trump obviously feels differently, and I can see some positives from it and go, okay, fine. At this moment in time, Bolton may be a good move. Or at least Trump may think it's a good move. We'll see what happens. Okay, I can live with that. Okay, I can criticize the move. I can not be happy about it. I can be trepidatious about it. All of those things. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be angry about it because, we've already gotten so many wins compared to every other president in the last 30 years. There comes a point where you have to, you're going to lose every once in a while. All right, fine. So the spending bill didn't make any sense to me. So now, let's talk about what could be the silver lining here. Excuse me for just a second, because I need to pop up the Twitter thread that I saw that made me reconsider my my position. All right, because it's from John Salisbury, and other people have been tweeting about this. This isn't unique to him at this point. Oh, that's interesting. It's not loading. I like that. I think that's funny. It's probably just. All right, so let's bring this up real quick. Because here's the gig. If you remember back to December, Trump signed a state of emergency executive order relative to human trafficking and some other things, but primarily over human trafficking. So and that state of emergency is still in effect, he told Congress that we are operating under a state of emergency, which gives him wider discretionary powers in terms of allocating money than he would normally have. So if he's got that, this is an omnibus spending bill, not a budget. Now, remember, Congress has been loath to pass a budget because it's politically inconvenient for them to pass a budget. It's easier for them to continue passing these spending bills, pushing off any kind of government shutdown, never putting a budget forth, so they never have to be on the hook for anything. They can just go back to their constituents and say, look, I got you some pork, and stay in power. And this is what they've been doing. And so the theory here is that these two things together give Trump an opportunity to drive a bus through this spending bill because Congress allocates the money. The president spends the money. He's the executive, he's the unitary executive, and that's his job, is to spend the money that Congress allocates. Now, on a budget, he has zero leeway. Zero. When you have a willing participant as president in the chicanery going on, the political chicanery going on in Washington, then passing an omnibus spending bill as opposed to a budget can fly. When you have a hostile actor at the executive level relative to Congress, we may be in a situation where Trump can use that against them. And here's the situation. So you first have the state of emergency, which opens up his discretion on as to how he allocates the money. Congress says, you should spend the money like this. He says, that's interesting. No, I'm not going to fund Planned Parenthood. I'm not going to fund this. I'm not going to fund that. I don't have to. I can send that money back to the U.S. Treasury if I want. Because I have that power. I am the president. And I think, and moreover, under a state of emergency, he has an even greater leeway with which to do this. I say, look, no, we're under a national emergency right now. Human trafficking is an issue. It's a major issue. The opioid crisis is a major issue. These are things that need to be addressed directly. And we're not going to waste money and waste the taxpayers' time and money and energy and effort on pork projects. We're just not going to do it. So he doesn't have to spend the money. Moreover, they allocated more money to the DOD than he originally wanted anyway. Now, if you can tie, and this is the point, if he can tie legally, because this will have to be, if this is what he's trying to do, this will be legally challenged. There's no doubt about this. It'll wind up in the Supreme Court. But if you can tie legally his state of emergency relative to human trafficking to the border wall and invoke national defense, which he did at his signing statement. He said, I have to sign this for national defense purposes. Is that a clue? Was he telling us what he's trying to do? We'll see. Again, I'm not sure I believe any of this. I'm not sure that it's not just all LARPy bullshit. And that he really is just trying to hang on as much as he possibly can. But what if, and here's the thing, as insane as his signing this thing without a fight was, and this is the point, as counterintuitive as that was, as why would you do that? What the fuck are you doing? The amount of political capital he gains, if this is the way he's going to get the wall funded, is through the roof. As much as this is a what the fuck, from a real politics perspective, on the surface, you turn it around with this interpretation of events. Now all of a sudden it's the opportunity to literally eviscerate the Democrats and Congress and everybody else at the same time. And I'll explain. Let's set the Wayback Machine to 2015. I've talked about this before. Talk about it again. During the Greek debt negotiation of 2015, after Syriza came to power, Greek Foreign Minister Yanis Varoufakis went to Germany, went to Wolfgang Schäuble, the German finance minister, said, let's talk about this situation and get Greece some debt relief. And Schäuble said, I'm not even talking to you. I don't have any reason to talk to you. Varoufakis is like, what do you mean? You don't have any reason to talk to me. I'm the Greek finance minister. You're the German finance minister. We have a financial problem. Let us discuss this. And Schäuble just said, go home. I have a democratic mandate to put the screws to you. You don't have a democratic mandate to leave the euro. It's my democratic mandate versus yours, and mine is stronger. He ignored Varoufakis. They went straight to Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras, who rolled over like a dog in the end because he wasn't prepared to go back to the voters and say the only way we can survive this on our terms is to leave the euro. The Greeks weren't ready to leave the euro. They rolled over. They handed all of their freaking assets to the Germans in a bloodless coup. Now, let's think about the situation with Trump. Back in September, or August, late July, when the sanctions bill came through, and he had to sign it, even though we and the base desperately wanted him to veto it, even if just as a protest vote, force them to revote the damn thing, even though it would, sailed through the Senate 92-0 or whatever. He didn't have the political capital to do that at that point in time. The approval rating was in the 30s. All of that. And so today, his approval rating is well over 50%. Where's Congress's? 7%, 8%, 9%? I bet you it's actually lower than that. No one likes Congress. Congress is literally standing on a pile of quicksand as they fall into the swamp. Pedestal of quicksand as they still like, we're going to fight you, and you're getting swallowed up by the fact that everybody hates you because you refuse to do your job. And this bill is a perfect example of what we don't want, of what the Bernie bros didn't want, of what the Trump supporters didn't want, what nobody wants. Which is why Trump signing it makes no freaking sense whatsoever. So put Trump's Democratic mandate up against Congress's after he after he pulls a brilliant left turn and puts the screws to them and proves to everybody he actually is playing a little bit of 4D chess, and that he can survive this, dude, his approval rating goes through the roof. The midterm elections are a whitewash. The Democrats are completely wiped out because what do they have to run on? DACA, which they're going to lose on, and gun control. That's it. Because Trump got the border wall funded through the DOD. They're done. They're out there today. They're out there raising money because they don't have any money left because they spent it all trying to win these stupid special elections in these nothing places. In some way to try and shore up their base that we can win elections. We can beat Trump. No, you can't. Or can you? I don't know. If this thing's real, if this is the plan, American politics will never be the same. This will go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will back him because this is a constitutional issue and he has the power to do all of these things. And they'll get gutted. Their only option after that is to impeach him. Again, Democratic mandates come into play. The 7% approval rating of Congress, which will be at 3% by this point, versus Trump. Are you kidding me? If they impeach him, we'll elect him dictator for life. Not that I'm advocating that, but effectively the man could run for public office for like FDR for the next four election cycles. And the more I think about this, if this is what he's trying to do, this is as savvy a play as what FDR has done. FDR did. Not that I liked any of the things that FDR did, but from a political strategy, from a realpolitik perspective, Roosevelt was brilliant. So we'll see. I don't know. The whole thing does smack of kind of, like I said, LARPy bullshit. But at the same time, if it's not, it may be the most brilliant domestic political maneuver in American history. It's that big. And that's why I'm willing to even entertain the idea that it's true. Remember, I'm not telling you that it is true. I'm just telling you that it looks to me for all the world like it could be true because the incentives line up for it. I think the best way to think about this is if on Monday morning Ann Coulter is back on Trump's side, if she's moderating her position, I got news for you. It's real. Because if Ann Coulter is back on the side about this, then she got called and told. Because they're friends. They're not political allies. They're friends. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. I'm hoping because honestly, and I say this all the time, and I'll say it again. I don't like hope. Hope sucks because hope is the thing you have when you have nothing else, and I'm beginning to have nothing else. So I'm working on hope here. I don't like it. I'd rather work on facts. I'd rather work on what I see. I'd rather work on reality, not conjecture. But if this is what his plan is, I'll applaud. I'll be happy to. Are you kidding me? I'll be like, dude, you win. I'll vote for you again. Fuck it. Seriously. Because he'll have 90% of his enemies by the short and curlies. There's no doubt in my mind. If not, he'll be a one-term president. It's that big a political gambit. Because he doesn't have any other. I mean, he has no path out of this. There's no way to sell this otherwise. When James Woods is done with you, dude, you're in serious trouble. And James Woods has emerged as one of his most ardent and well-spoken supporters. When you betray people like this, and it's like the backlash is ugly. When you betray people badly, there's no going back. So whatever the deal is here, if this is real, he's going to have to spring it soon. He's going to have to spring the trap soon. When the billion-dollar checks for the wall start getting signed by the DOD, we can all believe it. Until that happens, though, I don't know. All right, guys. I know it's all I really have for today. I don't have. I can't. I don't think I can stretch this out another 10 minutes, and I don't really think I should. So, thanks for tuning in. I'll post this up on my blog over at goldgoatsandguns.com once it's ready, and I hope y'all have the great rest of the weekend. Tomorrow night, I may or may not be on Periscope tomorrow night, like I normally am. Got a busy day tomorrow, visiting an old friend. But at the same time, if you liked what you heard today, if you like what I have to say, like the video, subscribe to the channel, consider popping over to my Patreon page and supporting me there over at Patreon/goldgoatsandguns. All right, you guys take care. You have a great afternoon. Keep your stick on the ice.